Now, if the truth actually mattered to them, Bill Clinton's 28 visits to Epstein Island would be front page news, right? But they buried it. And now CNN is panicking because J.D. Vance, he just blew a lid off the entire operation and dragged every last name out the shadows. The question isn't why Trump's name keeps coming up. The question is why are they so desperate to keep their names off of it?
Hi, Mr. Vice President. Julie Carr-Smythe from the Associated Press. I guess I'm going to be that person. There are some protesters outside accusing the GOP of protecting pedophiles, and we're wondering what you think are the reasons the U.S. government should shield the client list of Epstein from the public, and what you have to say about any relevance to that here today.
Well, let me say just a couple of things. First of all, the president has been very clear. We're not shielding anything. The president has directed the attorney general to release all credible information and, frankly, to go and find additional credible information related to the Jeffrey Epstein case. He's been incredibly transparent about that stuff, but some of that stuff takes time. You've got to assemble that stuff. You've got to compile that stuff. You've got to redact some victims' names so that you protect the victims. But the president has been very clear. He wants full transparency. He's asked that from the attorney general. And I know, because I talk to her all the time, the attorney general is hard at work on that issue right now. But I think I got to make an observation that there's an interesting thing about this case that the American media seems to totally ignore. For 4 years under Joe Biden's Department of Justice, the media didn't give a damn about the Epstein files or about the Epstein case. For literally 20 years, the story about this scumbag, and he is a scumbag pedophile, Jeffrey Epstein, he's dead now, but for 20 years, you had Obama and George W. Bush's Department of Justice go easy on this guy. They didn't fully investigate the case. They didn't show any curiosity about the case, and now Donald J. Trump is asking his Department of Justice to show full transparency, and somehow that's a criticism of Donald J. Trump and not Barack Obama and George W. Bush. If you want to criticize the people who aren't showing full transparency, you ought to go after the administrations that went easy on Jeffrey Epstein, the administrations that concealed this case for 20 years, and the administrations that failed to show full transparency. Donald J. Trump, I'm telling you, he's got nothing to hide. His administration has got nothing to hide, and that's why he's been an advocate for full transparency in this case. He's going to keep on being an advocate for full transparency, but while we're focused on that case, Donald J. Trump is also worried about making sure these great workers get more take-home pay and better jobs, and that's the focus of the administration. Thank you.
Some might want to consider this deflection, but I say that's exposure. J.D. Vance didn't dodge the question. He actually went for the jugular, if you ask me. 20 years of silence, 20 years of media cover-ups, and now suddenly they care. Only when Trump's in office. Now, I'm not removing accountability from Trump. Kind of gave us the impression that he was going to do this, so he's doing it. What was this energy under Obama, Bush, the Clintons? You don't get to ignore Epstein for 2 decades, right? And then pretend you're the moral authority right now. And if they're hiding, if they'll cover up something that dark for that long, imagine. I want you to really imagine what they're hiding from you right now. Hold up. If you're getting spam calls and random weird text messages out of nowhere, it's probably not random. And it used to happen to me all the time. And look, I run the whole YouTube channel. What I didn't know is my information was already out there. These data broker sites literally had my full name, old passwords, addresses, and even stuff linked to my business accounts. Big tech, they don't protect you. And I had to learn the hard way. And that's why I started using Aura.com, the sponsor of today's video. Aura finds where your personal info is exposed, scrubs it from data broker sites, monitor your identity 24/7, and alerts you fast when something shady is happening. It even has a built-in VPN, antivirus, and financial fraud alerts, all in one app. For real, Kingdom Reacts was at risk. This ain't just a sponsor plug. This is real. They help me lock everything down. Go to aura.com/kingdomreacts right now to get you a 2-week free trial. And that link helps the channel too. It's free to try, but the peace of mind, it's honestly priceless. And that's why I can no longer allow you or your family to go unprotected. Definitely click that link in the description. Now, contrast that with the one man who didn't hide and actually helped bring down Epstein.
One more question on that document, and this goes to the more salacious rumors, but I would like you to just, whatever you can say on it. Obviously, our current president has had relationships with Epstein in the past, and there are those, Katie Johnson and maybe other victims who accuse Trump of being involved in things like this. In my experience, Trump supporters will not listen to anything along those lines. Obviously, we're not a court of law here right now, but are those claims, though that case was dropped, it was dropped before it went to court. In your opinion, as a lawyer and your experience, is there anything you can say as to the validity of those claims, or whether or not there will be any more about that?
Nothing at all. The only thing that I can say about President Trump is that he is the only person who, in 2009, when I served a lot of subpoenas on a lot of people, or at least gave notice to some pretty connected people that I wanted to talk to them. He is the only person who picked up the phone and said, let's just talk. I'll give you as much time as you want. I'll tell you what you need to know, and was very helpful in the information that he gave, and gave no indication whatsoever that he was involved in anything untoward whatsoever, but had good information that checked out and that helped us, and that we didn't have to take a deposition of him.
And that was in 2009?
That was in 2009. So,
do you know if there's any truth to James Patterson's claims that Trump kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago?
I've definitely heard that. I definitely heard that. And I don't know that it was Trump himself as opposed to a manager there.
Trump's club, so
yeah,
people credit him.
I've heard the rumor that Epstein was kicked out of there for allegedly trying to pick up somebody's daughter or something like that. But I think I did chase that down as far as I could, and never was able to confirm it. But I heard it.
Now, they say this was Epstein's attorney and he's defending Trump. He's saying only one man stepped up. Trump didn't lawyer up, didn't dodge, or didn't run. These are things you got to know. He said he picked up the phone in 2009 and said, basically, what do you need to know? Meanwhile, the ones screaming the loudest, they were silent back then. Why? The question is why. Because Trump was a threat to their secrets. Not a part of them.
And by the way, I never went to the island, and Bill Clinton went there supposedly 28 times. I never went to the island, but Larry Summers, I hear, went there. He was the head of Harvard. And many other people that are very big people. Nobody ever talks about them. I never had the privilege of going to his island, and I did turn it down, but a lot of people in Palm Beach were invited to his island. In one of my very good moments, I turned it down. I didn't want to go to his island. Yeah.
President Trump says he never visited Jeffrey Epstein's private island. Listen.
I never had the privilege of going to his island, and I did turn it down, but a lot of people in Palm Beach were invited to his island. In one of my very good moments, I turned it down. I didn't want to go to his island. And by the way, I never went.
Yep. CNN caught editing Clinton trips. That's the game. CNN edited out the exact part where Trump says Clinton went to Epstein's Island 28 times. Ask yourself, if they're willing to cut the truth to protect Clinton, what else have they cut? Notice, it's not just what they hide, it's who they protect. Trump explains why he cut off Epstein.
That's such old history. Very easy to explain, but I don't want to waste your time by explaining it. But for years, I wouldn't talk to Jeffrey Epstein. I wouldn't talk because he did something that was inappropriate. He hired help. And I said, don't ever do that again. He stole people that worked for me. I said, don't ever do that again. He did it again. And I threw him out of the place, persona non grata. I threw him out, and that was it. I'm glad I did, if you want to know the truth. And by the way, I never went to the island, and Bill Clinton went there supposedly 28 times. I never went to the island, but Larry Summers, I hear, went there. He was the head of Harvard. And many other people that are very big people. Nobody ever talks about them. I never had the privilege of going to his island, and I did turn it down, but a lot of people in Palm Beach were invited to his island. In one of my very good moments, I turned it down. I didn't want to go to his island. Yeah.
Trump banned him, cut ties, tossed him out before Epstein was even a national headline. That's not optics. If you ask me, that's conviction. That's leadership. You think Biden would have done the same? You know Obama did. You think Bill Clinton did? Yeah, exactly. So Trump, why didn't they use the files?
On the Epstein files, or your name has not appeared in the Epstein files. But doesn't the AG have to tell you if your name?
Well, I haven't been overly interested in it. You know, it's a hoax that's been built up way beyond proportion. I can say this: those files were run by the worst scum on earth. They were run by Comey. They were run by Garland. They were run by Biden and all of the people that actually ran the government, including the auto pen. Those files were run for 4 years by those people. If they had anything, I assume they would have released it.
Exactly.
The whole thing is a hoax. They ran the files. I was running against somebody that ran the files. If they had something, they would have released. Now, they can easily put something in the files that's a phony. Like, as an example, Christopher Steele, a person you know well, happens to be from your country. But Christopher Steele, as an example, wrote a book, a dossier. We call it the fake news dossier. And the whole thing was a fake. The whole thing was a fake. They can put things in the file that are fake. But those files were run by bad, sick people. If they had anything, why didn't they use it when I was killing Joe and then he gave out because he was 25 points down? Mm-hmm. And then I got somebody new. Nobody even knew anything about her. She was a horrible vice president. She was a border czar, but she never went to the border. She never once called a border patrol agent to find out how we're doing. But she was the border czar. Her name was Kamala. Nobody knows her last name. It was Harris. But nobody knew her last name. So I ended up, how would you like to end up in a race where you're killing somebody, you're beating him, and then they say, all right, we'll take him out. He's not working. Let's put somebody else. And then she had a 6-week honeymoon. It was amazing. They predicted she would have a 6-week honeymoon, and she did. And then she got slaughtered. But think of it. Those files were run by these people. They were run by my enemy. If there was anything in there, they would have used them for the election. Yeah.
Boom. He laid it all out. If they had anything on him, they would have used it in 2016. This is something that we've been saying. They would have used it in 2020. They would have used it in 2024, but they didn't. Instead, silence. And the people running the DOJ back then, James Comey, Merrick Garland, Joe Biden, y'all think those files were being handled honestly? Even if they were, I mean, we don't have enough room for suspicion here. We don't have enough probable cause. Listen, y'all, don't fall for the trap.
You might not like the truth, but I'll never tell a lie. This one goes out to all the clowns screaming, "Release the Epstein files." Sit down. First of all, it's not President Trump's administration hiding anything. These Epstein files are sealed by federal judges appointed by Obama. So blaming President Trump is extremely lazy. I suggest that you check court records before you start shouting. Second, and I know this is going to be hard for you guys to swallow, he never once in 2016, 2020, or 2024 ran on releasing the Epstein files. You won't find one rally where he mentions that man's name. He was on a Lex Friedman podcast once and was asked about them, and he said he'll look into it. Fact check me on that, because you won't find a single rally where he mentions that man's name. Third, this whole Epstein obsession is a setup by the media and the Democratic Party. Have you not noticed that every couple of weeks it's a new distraction, and this time it's the Epstein files? And we need to be real fucking honest, because if there was anything in those files implementing this man, the Biden administration, who's had the files the past 4 years, would have released it by now. They've had every chance, every motive, and nothing until now. And what I find absolutely hilarious is that even with all this Epstein drama, President's approval has gone up, while the Democrats have sank to a new low at 17% approval. What? That's literally rock bottom. So how's smearing the president going for you, huh? Hey, MAGA, do you regret your vote? No, we don't regret our vote.
Not at all.
This man campaigned on securing the border. Done. He ran on fixing the economy. Done. He ran on protecting women in their spaces. Done. And he ran on protecting children against his radical gender ideology. Check. In 7 months, mind you. And while Democrats and the mainstream media obsess over President Trump, this is what they want you to overlook.
No, I can't play this. This is just too much for me. Obviously, these videos of Biden and these situations are public domain, but no. Come on, that gotta be the end. That gotta be the end.
So tell me who the real threat is again? Is it the man that they're trying to destroy or the man that they're protecting? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, love you guys. Peace.
Yeah, I get that he was showing it in context, and again, it's public domain, but no. I mean, this entire Epstein frenzy isn't about justice. It seems that it's about leverage, a distraction, and the big C word, control. They want you to believe Trump is hiding something, while the ones actually connected to the Epstein files walking free, untouched, and protected by the very media that edits out their names. So, think Trump's been vetted, investigated, dragged through fake dossiers and impeachments, and yet 28 trips for Clinton don't even seem like it's a footnote. So I ask you again, who is the real threat? The man that they're trying to destroy, or the ones they'll do anything to protect? Because Team Think, we know the answer. We don't need permission to say it. If you're tired of the lies, the edits, and the silence, make sure y'all follow me on X and Rumble, where the real stories live. Y'all be safe. If you haven't subscribed here, do so already. Go check on somebody today. You can quite literally be saving their life. Peace.